In an unprecedented turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, Chinese superstars Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan have issued a joint public apology following a catastrophic airport incident that left thousands stranded and sparked a fierce debate about celebrity responsibility. The duo's admission of guilt has left fans devastated and industry insiders questioning whether this marks the end of their meteoric rise to fame. The entertainment world was left reeling yesterday when what should have been a routine airport arrival turned into an absolute nightmare scenario that authorities are calling one of the most severe celebrity-induced disruptions in aviation history. The incident, which occurred at Beijing Capital International Airport, resulted in flight delays, security breaches, and what witnesses described as complete pandemonium that lasted for over 6 hours. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. The two stars have now admitted they deliberately informed their fanbase about their arrival time, knowing full well the chaos it would cause. The question everyone is asking now is, was this a calculated publicity stunt gone horribly wrong, or simply a case of two young celebrities making a devastating error in judgment? Sources close to the investigation reveal that the nightmare began at approximately 2:30 p.m. local time, when Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan's respective management teams simultaneously posted detailed arrival information on their official social media accounts. The posts, which have since been deleted but screenshots continue to circulate wildly across the internet, included not just the flight number and terminal information, but also specific gate details and even suggested optimal viewing locations for fans. Within minutes of the posts going live, the airport's social media monitoring systems detected an unprecedented surge in activity. Airport Security Chief Li Weiming later described the situation as unlike anything we've encountered in 3 decades of operation. The scale of the response was so massive that it triggered the airport's emergency protocols typically reserved for natural disasters or terrorist threats. What happened next reads like something out of a disaster movie script. Over 15,000 fans, many of whom had been waiting for days for any hint of the stars' whereabouts, descended upon the airport in what can only be described as a human tsunami. The sheer volume of people overwhelmed not just the terminal facilities, but the entire transportation infrastructure surrounding the airport. Traffic on the airport expressway came to a complete standstill as thousands of fans abandoned their vehicles mid-journey, choosing to run the remaining distance rather than risk missing their idols. The Beijing Public Transport Authority reported that over 200 buses were either delayed or completely unable to reach their destinations due to the unprecedented crowds. The subway system, already operating at capacity, was forced to implement emergency crowd control measures at multiple stations. Inside the terminal, the situation was even more chaotic. Witnesses describe scenes of fans climbing over security barriers, rushing past checkpoints, and in some cases, attempting to access restricted areas of the airport. The normal flow of passengers was completely disrupted as thousands of screaming fans created what airport officials termed an impenetrable wall of human bodies. But perhaps the most shocking revelation came from airport surveillance footage that has since been leaked to the media. The footage shows the moment when fans realized they had been given incorrect information. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan were actually scheduled to arrive at a completely different terminal. The realization sparked what witnesses described as a stampede-like rush as thousands of people attempted to relocate simultaneously. The human cost of this chaos began to emerge within hours. Emergency services reported treating over 100 individuals for various injuries, ranging from minor cuts and bruises to more serious conditions including panic attacks, dehydration, and crush injuries. 3 fans were hospitalized with what doctors described as severe trampling injuries, while countless others required medical attention for hysteria and emotional distress. The economic impact has been equally staggering. Airport authorities estimate that the disruption affected over 50,000 passengers across more than 300 flights. Dozens of international flights were delayed by hours, with some domestic services canceled entirely. The ripple effect extended far beyond Beijing, with connecting flights across Asia experiencing significant delays. Airlines have already begun calculating compensation claims that industry experts predict could reach into the hundreds of millions of yuan. Major carriers including Air China, China Southern, and China Eastern have all filed formal complaints with aviation authorities, demanding accountability for what they're calling the most expensive fan gathering in aviation history. The international business community has also expressed concern, with several major corporations reporting that key executives missed crucial meetings due to the disruption. The Beijing Chamber of Commerce issued a statement describing the incident as a serious blow to the city's reputation as a reliable international business hub. But the most devastating aspect of this entire saga may be the emotional toll on the fans themselves. Social media platforms have been flooded with heart-wrenching posts from supporters who spent their life savings traveling to Beijing, only to find themselves caught in an impossible situation. Many fans have described feeling betrayed and manipulated by stars they had idolized for years. 20-year-old university student Zhang Mei, who traveled from Guangzhou specifically for the airport appearance, told reporters through tears, "I sold my textbooks and worked extra shifts for 3 months to afford this trip. I thought they cared about us, but now I realize we were just being used for publicity. How could they do this to people who love them so much?" The controversy deepened when investigative journalists uncovered evidence suggesting that both Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan's management teams had been warned by airport authorities about the potential risks of publicly announcing arrival details. Internal emails obtained through sources close to the investigation reveal that airport security had specifically advised against sharing such information, citing previous incidents with other celebrities. Even more damaging was the revelation that similar warnings had been issued by the Beijing Public Security Bureau, which had apparently conducted a risk assessment suggesting that any joint appearance by the two stars would likely result in unmanageable crowd dynamics. The fact that these warnings were apparently ignored has led to calls for criminal charges to be filed against the celebrities' management teams. The pressure on Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan to respond became overwhelming as the story dominated headlines across Asia and began spreading to international media outlets. Entertainment journalists from as far away as Los Angeles and London began covering the story, with many drawing comparisons to famous celebrity incidents in their own countries. The turning point came when leaked audio recordings surfaced, allegedly capturing Wang Yibo's management team discussing the airport plan. In the recordings, voices that fans claim to recognize can be heard saying, "The bigger the crowd, the better the coverage. We need this to be huge." While the authenticity of these recordings has not been verified, their impact on public opinion has been devastating. It was against this backdrop of mounting pressure and public outrage that Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan made their shocking decision to break their silence. In a joint statement that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, both stars took full responsibility for the airport chaos and issued what many are calling the most comprehensive celebrity apology in Chinese entertainment history. Wang Yibo's portion of the statement was particularly emotional. "I am deeply ashamed of my actions and the harm they have caused. We made a terrible mistake by sharing our arrival information, knowing the dedication and love of our fans. We should have protected them, not put them in danger. The chaos at the airport was entirely our fault, and I take full responsibility for every injury, every delay, and every moment of fear experienced by innocent people." Xiao Zhan's contribution was equally powerful. "There is no excuse for what we did. We knew that announcing our arrival would cause disruption, but we were selfish and thought only about the publicity it would generate. We failed our fans, we failed the airport staff, and we failed the thousands of innocent travelers who were affected by our poor judgment. We are deeply sorry and committed to making amends." But perhaps the most surprising aspect of their apology was the admission that they had been specifically advised against sharing their arrival information. Both stars acknowledged that they had received warnings from airport authorities, security professionals, and even their own legal teams about the potential consequences of their planned announcement.